welcome to a very special edition of the Allison and Marc podcast, Married in Media. Actually, this is special because this is dedicated to Black media, and when I say Black media, I'm talking about BeMoreNews.com, and I'll be talking with Doni Glover, I'm actually at his event as we speak. I previously recorded this interview, and Doni is a man, he's busy, but I definitely wanted to do a show because the show goes on, but I also wanted to support my man, my brother, Doni Glover. If you're not familiar with BeMoreNews.com, you're about to be. So again, thank you for supporting Allison and Marc. And now, without any further ado, Doni Glover joins us live from his mobile studio. Doni Glover, what's going on, my brother?
To God be the glory. How's the visual?
It's good. You said it's good, man. It's good. And you've been, let me tell you something. And Doni, I'll be saying this at your event. And Doni loves it when I say it.
I thought you were going to say this at my funeral.
I've been saying, well, don't say that. But, I always talk about Doni being he says the news before the news, but really totally ahead of the curve. There's no way we could have known Doni, but it seems like you knew it before everybody else did. Before the cell phones, we had the digital cameras, and Doni would be, let's say, at the White House or whatever big event it is. Everybody else got the whole cameras out. Doni got his digital camera interviewing Mr. President, blah, 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 blah. Boom. And published it in the next 5 minutes on BeMoreNews.com. And so, Doni, now we see that, I work at Fox 45 now. Now we see people using their cell phones, using digital cameras for broadcast television, period. And it's like, you were ahead of the curve. So, Doni, was it necessity or did you have the vision? When what made you understand that was going to be a thing and not, in a sense, be embarrassed or not even think twice about it?
Well, let me clarify. I never got a chance to ask the president a question.
But you were at the White House
60 times, and I've sent people about 15 times. Is there an echo? Is that me?
You're good.
Okay. So when the digital camera came out with the ability to not only shoot video, but take pictures, or not just take pictures, but also do video, it just seemed like an intelligent tool. And mind you, this was before cell phones have the capabilities that they do today. I mean, back then, it was what, BlackBerry?
Yep. The BlackBerry and the flip phone and then beepers. And Doni, you were ahead of the game, man. You had the latest digital camera, though. I'll give you that.
Well, they were only $100 or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you fill up one, you go get another. Don't even get the warranty.
Doni, what was the thing? So that was one aspect, but the part that you have that many don't have even today is you're a writer. You're a journalist. You're an old school journalist. And again, the same story I always talk about is my grandfather was a printer. I come from a printer family, and we always talk about those who came before us. Your family was in funeral homes. My grandfather was a printer. And so there was a certain way that generation moved, the way they did business. They were excellent at what they did. They demanded excellence. And you carry that same spirit onto BeMoreNews.com. And I think nowadays where you have the news, if you will, many times it's not the news. It's really just gossip, or it's an opinion, or it really is PR. And, now that I'm working for a monster, I now see behind the whiz, I see behind the curtain, and it's almost, as somebody who majored in broadcast television and minored in journalism, and then someone like yourself who came from the old school, what we're seeing a lot of times is not, professors wouldn't have held that up, right? They both sides fairly covered. They wouldn't hold it up. So, Doni,
I don't know. When I was at Coppin, and this Wednesday I celebrate my 30th year as a journalist, but it all started at Coppin in '93. Professor Ron Nichols.
Wow, '93.
And two important things. He made us watch a film during the first class, D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation.
Yep.
He wanted us to understand the stereotypes, the history of its manufacturing, and that our job was to fight against it for the rest of our career. The second piece, he had us read John Naisbitt's Megatrends and Megatrends 2000. which both went into the power of the internet.
Wow.
We met back then two key people, Tony Brown and Pluria Marshall. Mr. Marshall ran a media association. You remember him?
Yeah, it's crazy because, of course, I remember both of them, and like you said, as a young person, I didn't know the power of both of them. Eventually, I did, but it's amazing how small the world is, and like you said, for us to actually cross paths with those people and get to know them, and you know, we were kids, but it was amazing. Little did we know that they would stay with us our whole career.
Tony Brown said when he came to Coppin, and this was 93, 94, he said, something is coming where I can reach thousands, if not millions of people with a click. Dude, AOL had just come out, right?
Yeah,
You've got mail.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Tony Brown was predicting today. So I'd love to see him. On that note, I gotta tell you, especially with your love for your grandfather as a publisher, editor, I went to the NNPA, special thanks to Catania Lester. I went to their award ceremony Thursday night and I met a man that former Afro publisher Jake Oliver
Yes.
told me to go and meet.
Mm.
His name is Robert Bogle, and he is the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Tribune. Long story short, I met the icon of black print media on Thursday night.
Amazing.
So you and I were now 30, I think you've been doing this longer than me, 30, 35 years now, but we are those people. And our next assignment is specializing in infusing this next generation of journalists with the very same things or with the very same spirit that a Ron Nichols, a Tony Brown, a Floria Marshall poured into us. And let me not leave out the sisters. The lady that founded WEBB, Dorothy Brunson.
Yep.
I think of Mary Carter Smith at WEAA. Kathy Hughes, of course. You know, she left both of us. But you know what? We thank God for her
Yep.
because it showed us what we didn't want and what we got to do in order to get what we do want.
And Donnie, you're doing something that Kathy Hughes told me I should have done because I wanted more money. You know, it's so interesting. At 92Q, actually looking back, you know, I was one of the few that did make, you know, not only a fair wage, but I made more than most in my time. But because I was ignorant, you know, I was asking for more money, and Miss Hughes pulled me aside one time and said, "Mark, let me tell you something. I employ, you know, what you say, I employ over 3,000 people. I'm responsible for them. And if you want to make more money, you need to open up your own media." And it was a great reminder, like of when you own something as you do, and you got to take care of these people, man. Love if they may love you or hate you, but one thing they can't, like I said, my relationship had ended a certain way. I didn't feel great about that. But one thing about Kathy Hughes and Radio One that I can't take away from is that I made the most money in my career working for them. So how can I be mad? You know what I mean? Especially when you start looking into, I look at you, when you have your own business, when you have your own business, and this is for everybody who under the sound of our voice. If you're making six figures somewhere and you're not in sales, your days are numbered because there's people out there that do your job for half that. You know what I mean? 50,000 is solid for many people. So, you know, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just, it kind of like, and then when I segued and I did sales for a second, and I realized to make $100,000, you need to basically sell $1 million worth. It puts it in perspective, right, Donnie? It puts it in perspective. You got insurance, you got this, you got that, you got benefits, and to generate $100,000 for the most part, you're going to have to sell, you know, $500,000 to $1 million easy for a company. And so, are you that valuable? Just like when
Yes,
When
you are. Mark Clark is that valuable.
no,
Yes.
right, you have to know your value. You have to know your value, right? And it's just like when Sirius XM started, and radio guys had to ask yourself the question. They love you free on the radio. Would people be willing to pay? Willing to pay to hear your point of view, to hear what you have to say. People who own their businesses like you, Donnie, you live with it every day. And you face it every day. Some client will say, "Yeah, Donnie, I'm good. Yep, sign me up again. Sign me up for another year." Some clients will say, I don't know, Donnie, I don't know." And so, but you're dealing with real reality, not the false sense that all of us have who have a 9 to 5, where that check's going to be there every 2 weeks. I'm good. I'm doing a great job. When you own your business, hey, the proof in the pudding is in the tasting. If they ain't trying to taste it, if they ain't trying to taste the pudding, then hey. But so talk to us about that, Donnie. You made a decision. You could have been a writer for so and so paper, so and so organization, but you decided to kill it and eat it, as they say, to live on your own. And for 30 years, you pretty much have been doing that. What was that decision about?
Whew. I was writing front page stories for the Afro, but I knew my last name wasn't Murphy, Oliver, Draper, Peck. So I knew I was never going to own the Afro. Now, coming from, the son of two entrepreneurs,
Mm.
I knew I had to build my own. So I started with a publication. I did that for 6 months. It was called the North Avenue Review. Pretty urban, huh?
The North Avenue Review. I love it.
And then I went from there to, I think I did SantownLive.com. Now, first I think I did SantownLive.com. Then I tried my hand at a publication. But what I learned with SantownLive.com, my first website, is that if you don't know how to do your own updates, you had to pay somebody to do that. And the lady who built it for me, she wanted me to keep paying her. And that was never a part of my plan. So she wouldn't show me how to update it. Her loss, because she never mind. So I went and built my own from scratch. It was called, I built it in Microsoft Publisher. And it was ugly. It was ugly. It was the color scheme, it had none, colors everywhere, but it was mine. My dad said, "Donnie, if you get out there and try, somebody might see you, and they might even help you." If that man were alive, I'd kiss him for telling me the truth. He said, "If you get out there and try, somebody might see you, and they might even help you, but you'll never know if you never try. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
Mm.
I got out there. It was ugly, but it had content, had pictures. Matter of fact, we even had a picture of Jay-Z. I met Jay-Z down the harbor. And this guy named Julian Seymour, God rest his soul, saw my ugly website. And he said, I'm gonna help you out. And by 2003, I had a website with video. I was ahead of the curve, 20 years ahead of the curve.
Wow, that's crazy.
So the reminder is, get out there, try. Somebody might see you and help you. You'll never know if you never try. But here's the other part. I've given away over 2,500 of these Joe Man Black Wall Street Awards in 9 U.S. cities. And that story is the backdrop to why I give them away. Because if you're a black person in America and you're trying to run a business, I want to lift you up. Now, I get something in the process. My name is on your wall. BeMoreNews.com is on your wall. But your name is on there too. And I just thought, I always knew from the beginning that Be More News, being a website, internet, we had to have a presence in the community. We had to engage the people. Because if you remember, before it was the Joe Man's Black Wall Street Awards, If you remember, Mark, it was the Harambe Dinner Club,
Yeah,
and that was business networking at a black-owned establishment, typically.
man. And so now, 30 years in, you are in another innovation. You're in the metaverse, and
Yeah, with your boy, your
what you
man's in them.
and right what you said with Tyrone. You said if you build it, somebody will see you, and I think that's ironic that here you have Tyrone, who's his metaverse concept and idea. He needed media, and he is media, but he needed the help of somebody. And here comes Donnie, and I know you guys both. You both are friends, and I love both you guys. And I told you before, I was like, okay, now it's gonna be interesting. I hadn't really seen Tyrone work with somebody like it's the other way around in his world, right? Tyrone, when you talk about magazine publishers and people, black people who've had magazine, basically they all kind of came through career communications with Tyrone. So here it was, Tyrone needed someone to assist with moving technology forward in the media form. He goes to you, which is I'm like, amazing. I was like, that's amazing. And again, because let me tell you something, Donnie's going to keep it real. Donnie's going to be Donnie. Donnie's he's the original. He's the authentic one. And I was like, and Tyrone is king corporate because and mainly because Tyrone has valuable clients, and Tyrone don't be sharing them clients with nobody unless he trusts you. So I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting marriage. And look at this, y'all been married, y'all a successful couple now. Y'all got honeymoons and everything. So and it must feel good because here's a guy, an innovator, now in another innovation. So metaverse.
He said something to me, Mark. He said, Donnie, do you know what I really like about you? See, Donnie, you're always out there lifting up and celebrating people.
That's true.
And it dawned on me. Let me tell you how bad. If folks don't know out there how phenomenal Tyrone Taborn is. We mentioned Florian Marshall. We mentioned Tony Brown. I mentioned Robert Bogle, Philadelphia Tribune. How many of us know that Tyrone Taborn is one of the largest black publishers in the world?
Amazing.
Based right here in Baltimore.
It's amazing.
And how many your Bob Ingrams, Edwin Avon, Keith Clinkscale, Omar Muhammad, and the list goes on and on of the people who blessed him. Now, do you know who blessed Tyrone?
I do not know.
The man who brought Tyrone Taborn to Baltimore is none other than attorney extraordinaire William Billy Murphy.
Okay,
Jr.
well, yeah. Well, you can't really go far without touching Billy Murphy's influence in Baltimore, can you?
No, you can't. Yeah. Now, I've heard people say, "Oh, Billy's tough. He's difficult." I love him, man. He's just the kindest person to me. I tell you, if you want to understand Billy, you got to understand this man graduated from MIT, was an engineer, told the white people to go to hell because he didn't want no 9 to 5 with him. Left engineering, went to law school. He is a phenomenally talented man.
Yes.
But the biggest thing that people may not even know about him is his philanthropy. So if he brings Tyrone to Baltimore and he gives Tyrone free rent, do you know how valuable that is?
Amazing.
And Tyrone understands he's got to pay that forward. I understand I got to pay that forward. So I'm giving away, 2,500 awards? Man, he's been doing the Bayer Black Engineer of the Year Awards 39 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's interesting because one thing about those high level people like Tyrone and Billy, what I'm always captivated by is they're very thirsty for technology. They're futuristic. I remember when I was with the Big Fat Morning Show near the end, and I went to visit Billy. And Billy had one of the new Macs, the Monster Mac.
He had a movie screen.
You know what I'm talking about. And so Billy hit me with, my late father-in-law was a New Thought minister. So, you talk about those concepts and, not the, he's from Memphis. So he got the basics, but then he had the New Thought. And Billy hit me with one of those, in the Big Fat Morning Show changes, people getting let go and they're going to probably eventually fire us. Billy basically said something to the effect of, you chose this life. I was like, what? You know what I mean? And it's funny because that's exactly what my father-in-law would say, as far as, people be like, how'd I get, why you chose your parents. And I just thought it was cool. I was like, wow, Billy hit me with some new age stuff from my father-in-law. I had no idea that was him. Like I said, as he sat before this amazing computer and, Billy's a genius lawyer. So you're like, this guy is going to be ageless because he's going to always be forward thinking, checking out new concepts, new ideas. So, and that's the same with Donnie. You're funny. You're old school, new school. On one hand, metaverse, but on the other hand, I wouldn't be shocked if in your house is an old typewriter.
It's not an old typewriter, but I do have a rotary phone.
And Ren 1010 is also in your house too.
Yeah, Pharaoh. He don't take kindly to Ren. You know my name.
So, Donnie, tell us about the event. So I'm actually at the event right now as we're speaking because I don't know I'm going to be there. Am I hosting, Donnie, or am I just there? I don't know what I'm doing. But
Mark Clark, you are the host, man. You're the host with the most. And let me just say thank you, Mark, for being my brother, my friend. Happy belated birthday. You're Gemini, right?
That's right, sir.
I'm sidestepping you a bit. Did you know that Biggie was a Gemini?
I did not. Kanye, Prince.
Tupac.
Oh, Tupac? Wow.
Kendrick Lamar.
Huh.
Patti LaBelle. You said Prince, right?
Yeah.
A lot of musical talent.
Tupac and Biggie, both Geminis, and then Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I mean, I don't know if Drake is. That's funny. I'm getting confused. But anyway, it's interesting that all that Gemini energy is around. So, Donnie, tell us about what's going on as we celebrate your 30 years. What's going on? Where is it? What time does it start? And all that.
30 years of journalism happening at Coppin State College of Business. That's the brand new building on the corner of North and Warwick. And it's 4 blocks from where I grew up in West Baltimore, over there on Moreland Avenue. Warwick Avenue, my mother said, boy, don't go around Warwick. As kids, we don't think our parents know what they talking about.
Right.
They knew damn well what they were talking about. She said, don't go around Warwick. You know what was around Warwick? Death. Heroin, cocaine, liquor. These are people, people we know growing up. But your mother, not your mother, your mother said, don't go around Warwick. But we had to go and see. Well, anyway, we're going to be at North and Warwick at Coppin State New College of Business, first floor, 30 years of journalists. We will feature the Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Awards. And there will be people in that room that knew me 30 years ago, including the guy that got me my first newspaper job, Jerry Cross.
Wow.
Dean T.J. Bryan will be there. She was the dean of the Ronald E. McNair Post-Baccalaureate Achievement Program, of which I am an alumni. They made us promise to get our doctorate, and they would give us a full, scholarship if we promised that, and I'm almost there. And then there's some new people, like people I've met in the past 6 months, past year, like Tracy Malone, a young lady who has taken the efforts I've already done in Sandtown and merged them with hers, and we now have the Sandtown Winchester Collective.
I love it.
So 20 honorees, including some of my former professors. Amini Courts will be there, Dr. Hattie Washington. Please don't forget Dr. Hattie Washington. Her and her daughters will come and beat you up if you forget her name.
What time does it start?
6 to 8 p.m. 6 to 8. It's going to be a little finger food. Don't come there with your paws. Come there with your fingers.
Donnie,
don't be bringing no damn aluminum foil either.
So, Donnie, be more news, but also you have an extension.
Yeah, since December 2020, we launched blackusa.news. And we got shows from around the country, including Doug Blackshaw out in Oakland, California.
And was this an effort to grow it nationally?
That combined with a pandemic pivot.
I love it. And then for those who want the metaverse, do they just check in with Black USA News and that takes them there? Is that the same?
Well, no, I'm the news director for StemCityUSA.com,
STEM
a
City
Tyrone
USA?
Taborn invention. But big ups to Tyrone. Bruh, working with Tyrone, we work with the future. I mean, he's George Jetson.
Yep.
Period.
He
I
really
mean,
is.
AI, virtual reality. I mean, I still remember you doing a sidekick. I was like, Mark Clark is doing a sidekick with them damn virtual glass. What they call Oculus goggles?
Yeah. And those are, everybody's bracing for. That's funny. Everybody's not bracing for it because with that $3,500 price tag, I think Apple, they know what they're doing, but I think they went for it. They went for the high. I mean, actually, I forgot the price. The price is exorbitant, and the reception has been slow because again, people pulling the trigger is, it's like, man, that's a house payment, car payment. We got things to do. So, but it's interesting. It's just a matter of time, though, right? It's just a matter of time. But and there's a lot
You
of
got to make
products
it
out
affordable. And at some point, Mark, humanity has to come into play.
there. Yeah.
People with a lot of money, like Elon Musk. People without money going to have to tackle him, tie him up, and probably lock him up. Stop digging up the moon, Elon. The Russians, the Chinese, they digging up the moon. Hey, bro, leave the moon alone. Go mess with Uranus, Pluto. Leave the damn moon alone, because next thing they're going to be moving there and dropping bombs down here. I've seen the futuristic movies, and I ain't fond of them.
Wow.
Leave
Okay,
the moon alone.
Leave the moon alone. And with that, Donnie, as you are burning, I know it's 100 degrees in that car, boy. I tell you what. And Donnie,
I ain't got no air on because I'm trying to be quiet.
Well, look, we're going to let you go. Again, thank you for this special. Doni Glover, 30 years. We're expecting 30 more, and it might be on the moon. Who knows?
I ain't going to the moon, man. Leave the moon alone.
Any shout-outs, Donnie, as we wrap things up?
Special thank you to Mr. Ronnie Griffin. Mark, if you get one friend in this world, you're blessed. I got you. I got Allison. I got Rondi. I'm rich.
And Rondi is now, he's investing in the future and investing in us and believing in us, and we are blessed to have him in our life. And so, and again, just like we're blessed to, thank you so much for everybody watching. Appreciate your support for Allison and Marc podcast. And again, I'll be back. We'll be back live next week on Wednesdays at 5. And who knows, we might add Black USA News, add them as one of our carriers soon. All right. So take care. Thanks again.